This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No.
This is
stop.
a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Yeah, man.
Hi.
Hump day. Hi.
Tori's ready.
It's hard to have a conversation with that. What was the bow and arrow?
Hump day. I'm sending a banner.
A banner.
Yeah, in my head, the arrow had hump day on it, and it flew through the air.
The arrow did, or did something trailing the arrow?
The arrow had a banner attached.
No, the banner was attached to the arrow.
The same thing.
So how are you doing, Erica? Pretty good?
I'm wonderful.
All right.
Yourself?
I feel great.
Good.
Want to get to it?
Good. Yes, absolutely.
All right.
All right.
Katie Couric is that was the weirdest start to the show ever. Is reflecting on working with Bryant Gumbel on the Today Show. So Katie and Bryant worked together from 1991 to 1997. She told Bill Maher on his podcast that Bryant was a guy's guy who had a sexist attitude. Don't we all? Especially when she was about to go on maternity leave. Watch.
He was giving me endless for taking like a month or two off. I was having my first baby.
Yeah, I could see that.
And he was like, why don't you just like drop it in the field and come back to work right away or something. I mean, it was really.
But that sounds like he was kidding.
No, he was kidding, but it was emblematic of sort of an incredibly sexist attitude.
Drop it in the field? Is that frowned upon?
My dad told me something to that effect. Yes. Not about a baby, but about being responsible for my changing body.
Really?
And he was like, ask your grandmother when they used to go to the river in the field. I was like, the river? And we on the west side of Chicago?
You're like scrubbing your clothes on a washboard.
But it kind of brings us to the times, right?
Totally,
People use different phrases. I don't know exactly what he said, but that was 30 years ago, regardless.
Yes.
It was wrong, but how do we feel about it?
We've all been in this business for quite some time. I had my first morning radio job when I was in 2004. And I was in my early 20s, and I remember it being very blue. Like a lot of blue language, a lot of blue references. And I was the girl who they hired from the nightclub. Like I was the bartender. So there was like this feeling of what that should look like.
The environment, yeah.
Right. And so when I look back on that, I often think like, what would we possibly get away with, if anything, like that today? And I think it is a sign of the times. Like if you're listening to classic traditional radio, you don't really get that shock jock super blue unless it's very specific you're looking for.
Yeah.
But this was like a pedestrian thing. So I think as things have changed and become more politically correct and sensitivities are higher, and I'm saying that not as an indictment, I'm just saying that people are more aware. Things have become a lot more less liberal. And I think that there's a good reason for that. But I'm not mad at Katie Couric because she recounted what happened, or the stories from yesteryear. Like a part of that is the reason why she's on that show.
I kind of am mad. Not at her. I'm not mad. Like mad.
You seem really mad.
I'm at a 10 right now, Tori. But yeah, I'll just say, I just think to steal a phrase from our own Erica Cobb, I think it's super weak sauce to go back 30 years and pull out anything. If you were a pro football coach, do you know what they used to coach 30 years ago? Go after his knees. Like you can't do anything. Nothing good was from 30 years ago except for wine. Everything else is probably illegal now. So to go back and take something and take a quote like, look at this bad person, it sounds like he probably was sexist. Yeah. I would put my kid's college fund on it. But a lot of people were. The reason, there was an interview with the director of Anchorman, and he wrote that movie to show in a comedic way what women dealt with going into broadcasting at that. There was no HR.
Right.
When you went in, they were like, hey, what's up, hot chocolate? That was what your boss said.
Yeah.
Your boss said that.
Is that frowned upon?
Yeah, I know. Now, you can still say that here.
Maybe don't wait wrong time.
Saying these crazy things and then being like, can you believe they said that? Sadly, yes, I can.
Okay, but really
I was actually called that.
Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
I feel like I shouldn't follow that.
He just pulled that out of his pocket.
It
That was a
very
good one.
good.
Yeah. See what I mean? But, all right, keep going. Yeah.
Very, very quickly, though, I do think there is power in explaining what it was like to a different generation. Not to take away from it. I see what you're saying. Don't complain about it because it was different. But it is important to at least address. That's how we evolve. If we didn't teach kids what 30 years history was, we wouldn't know that. It's important to evolve in what was our vocabulary 30 years ago so it doesn't come back. I think that's an important message.
But you know what, Tori, to that point on both sides, and I think that's what's really missing. I'm sorry, I'm like crying. But I often think about that girl that was in that radio station with all men.
Me too.
And also like being the only person of color in there. And I think about her in a lot of different ways. Did she have the vocabulary?
Right.
Did she have the experience?
Right.
Or the knowledge? Or was this a part of something that I was also playing my role as an ensemble cast, and that's what I had signed up for?
Right.
And like, I'm not saying I deserved it. You know, I'm just saying that like, when you are a part of something and you understand what you're getting yourself into, we have to look at that too. Like, did I make a decision? I made that decision shortly after. I decided that my dignity in the next opportunity was more important than that paycheck. But in the first opportunity, not that I didn't have my dignity, it was just that it was a different world, and this is a part that I played in this world.
Totally.
Different world.
You know, it's such a good callback, but I can't say
You
it.
can't say that. Jeff, you can't say it.
Absolutely can't.
Oh, what happened to the other story? We switched stories? I like the other one. All right, we'll do this one about someone's house. Emma Roberts opened up about her $3.6 million home for Architectural Digest, and a lot of people are calling it refreshingly normal. Emma showed off her regular-looking living room with a large brown comfy sofa and chairs and bookcases full of tchotchkes. She showed her excessive doll collection, which included her drunk cowgirl Barbie doll. Some fans couldn't get over her grandma-style bedroom either. But we have a clip.
This room, when I walked in and it was done, I couldn't believe it. I love anything floral, especially roses, peonies, pinks, and the fact that they match the headboard to the drapes. I just absolutely died. When it's all shut, it just looks like one big painting, and it's so beautiful and so cozy in here. As I said, cozy is the word I'm always looking for.
Who's her designer? La Quinta Inn?
No. This is what is called. This is what is called quiet wealth.
Yes, it's called 88 Ramada.
For real.
It's quiet luxury is what this is, and she's right. It's just
Quiet luxury?
Yes. There's all of these different pieces. She has like timepieces. They're all very much curated because this is the way that she likes her place to look. But everything in there is meticulously done.
and expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah, everything in there is expensive. I don't love the fringe on a lamp. That makes me think.
Wicker in the house?
Good.
Wicker in the house?
I don't know.
Wicker?
Wicker chest?
People have wicker
What's up with that
baskets and
wicker
stuff?
basket?
Oh, that's cute. I have wicker baskets. You don't?
I'm not.
course
That's
you
not
do.
my taste.
I have great
but
taste.
I can respect it.
All right, we got to stop making fun of this. We got to go. We'll be right back. Welcome back to DBL. There's a new trend on TikTok, and Erica fought to get this story in. We're doing it. It's all about women who are embracing the traditional role of a wife. These so-called trad wives are typically stay-at-home moms and wives. They show off their skills doing things like making cereal from scratch. Wow. Or getting all dolled up for their husbands when they come home from work. Really? One person even posted a how-to video. That's how outdated this is. Let's watch.
The man, he is the provider, the main breadwinner. He goes out of the house and works. The woman, the wife, she is the homemaker. She takes care of the home. She takes care of herself, and she does the cooking and the cleaning. Cooking and cleaning are life skills that can benefit you and your family forever. Make sure you are keeping up with your beauty and yourself. You are fit, you are healthy, because you and your husband will benefit from this.
Is she married? I didn't see a ring.
That was terrible.
Is she married? I did not see a ring.
She is married.
Well, wear your ring, girl.
That is
traditional.
trad wife.
That's traditional. Okay, here's the thing. I really wanted to talk about this. First of all, I dressed for the occasion after I made my bread this morning. So I don't have an issue with people living the lifestyles that they want to live. I do have an issue with the lack of transparency, because one of those examples of the trad wife, she's not really a trad wife. Her mother, or her husband is a millionaire. She is a successful model and a very successful content creator. So it's
she has
not
her own
as if she's
business.
making her own money. And anyone who's able to make bread or do all of these things for 6 hours in order to give your child one meal, first of all, has to have help, because what's your child doing for those 6 hours? And also, that's all you're doing for the day. Here's my thing. If this is a lifestyle that you think that you want to live, people never talk about knowing the ins and outs of people's financial situation. We are so blinded by the kind of car that someone drives, the kind of watch that they wear, not knowing if they are leveraged and completely leased out of their minds. And a lot of these horror stories of women who are saying, I did this and it turned out badly for me, thought that ignorance was bliss. But let me tell you, ignorance is not blissful when your credit is messed up because you trusted some man in order to provide for you and he never had the tools to do it. So I'm saying, if this is the lifestyle you want, go at it. But make sure you understand the inner workings, the outer workings, what the contingency plan is, all of these things before you're signing away your autonomy to another human being.
I totally appreciate that. I tried this, by the way. I wrote a blog about it. I was Betty Draper. I dressed like you. I waited for Brooks to come home. I had a drink ready when he was drinking back then. I had dinner ready, and I was like just trying it out as Betty Draper when I was watching Mad Men. And Brooks was like, it feels like you're trying to kill me. Like, this is very uncomfortable, and I don't like it.
Well, you were cosplaying.
I was. And you know why? Because in my heart of hearts, I want to be equal. I wanted the same opportunities, and I also want to have the same amount of risks. I want to have the same amount of benefits. No one is in charge, and I take care of the rest. We both are in charge, and in fact, in my family, I'm the breadwinner, and he takes care of the house. It's a very modern role reversal, and I don't feel comfortable in a trad wife living style, but I'm not trying to put them down. It's just not Tori.
Yeah, I could see how somebody could feel comfortable in that lifestyle. I think, Tori, what you just explained was kind of an opaque roles that you and your husband have in terms of you want things to be equal. And equal can be murky sometimes. And I think there are just some people that live their life and they're just like, I want things black and white. Like, this is what Erica does. This is what Al does. This is what Erica does. This is what Anthony does. And I think that having that kind of mentality is just a mentality you're born with. And so this would repulse some people like you as you were yelling throughout the segment. And some people would be like, I could get down with that. I don't think I would like it, but I think obviously millions of people do.
All right, we'll be right back.
Welcome back. Her life is straight out of a spy movie. In fact, Ben Affleck's character in the movie Argo is based on her late husband. Jonna Mendes is the former CIA chief of disguise. And earlier, she told us all about her fascinating career working undercover across the globe. Check it out.
Please welcome to the show, Jonna Mendes. Yes.
Hey, it's delightful to be here.
Jonna, I grew a beard just to look more like Ben Affleck for this interview, so here we go.
It's working.
It's working. In your book, you talk about how your first husband didn't tell you he worked for the CIA until after you got engaged. What was that like, learning you would kind of have to live your life undercover moving forward?
Well, you know, he was kind of in a pickle. He was undercover. He couldn't tell me that he was undercover. I mean, if we hadn't been engaged, I just might have just, walked away. He didn't know. So he had to wait until I said yes to the proposal. Then he had to tell me. I think he thought I was going to be shocked. I wasn't shocked. I thought it sounded like another adventure to pile on top of the adventures I had behind me already. I was ready to go, ready to rock.
Wow.
I like that.
I love her.
It was
when I grow up, I want to be you, because I would have been like, I got to go. Now, after you got married, you were able to start working with the CIA as a, quote, contract wife. What did that involve, and what were the challenges?
Contract wives came in at the bottom. We were cheap labor. We were basically hired as contract overseas, with the hope that when we went back home, we'd be able to convert to full staff, which is what I did. But I was coming from this was in Europe, and I was coming from a job where I was supervising about 20 young foreign women in a hospital doing medical dictation and surgical dictation. And I had a staff, and then all of a sudden, I'm a contract wife with the CIA. It felt like a demotion, not a promotion. Mm-hmm. But it was a beginning of something new, and turned out to be a pretty good decision to take that job.
Mm-hmm. Now, eventually, as you said, it worked well in your favor. You worked your way up to, I didn't know they had this, the disguise department at the CIA. Okay, what were some of the things people in this department had to do while going through training? I mean, was it like Hollywood, prosthetics? What?
Oh, we were better. We were so good.
Yes.
You had to take a color blindness test just in case, because a lot of people are colorblind and don't even really know it.
Right.
You had to be able to sculpt an ear. We would give them a dental stone of an ear. You had to be able to replicate that ear just to see that you had those capabilities. We had to work with making masks, like Hollywood stunt double masks, very simple masks. Wow. The first one I ever made was Rex Harrison. We had the mold for his face.
Rex?
And in the book, I tell you that we used him all over the world, without his knowledge, of course.
Oh my God!
We could finish him as a woman. He made a really ugly woman. We could change his ethnicity. We could make him any color that we wanted. We could make him anything we wanted or needed, and we did.
That's amazing.
It was very successful.
Unbelievable. In fact, you once briefed President George H.W. Bush while wearing a disguise. What was his reaction when you took the mask off? There you are.
No
That's the photo.
Way.
He absolutely loved it. And that's as animated as I ever saw George H.W. Bush. And I followed him through the political season. I have to say, I didn't vote for him. I was afraid he didn't have enough of a vision for me. But he had a vision in the Oval Office when I took off my face. And he liked it as much as anyone. He just sparkled. He was pleased. Wow. So was I.
I have a million questions. So aside from the movie Argo, which is based on your late husband, does Hollywood ever come close to showing what it's really like to be a spy?
Not close enough. There are a lot of shows that I don't like to watch. I didn't ever want to watch Homeland.
Yeah.
People loved it. The show that I really liked, was The Americans. Mm-hmm. Joe Weisberg, who put that show together, had worked at the CIA, not for long, for like 4 years, 5 years. We consider that just a second. He worked there for a career, but he learned enough to make a real story about people with kids Never mind that they were Russians posing as Americans with kids. But that family attention, the going out in the evening, nobody knew what you were doing, where you're going, what was going to happen. That was all very real. It felt absolutely true to life to me.
I'm going to watch that series now.
I watched it over COVID.
I will watch it
Americans
now.
is excellent.
Woo, Jonna, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing these incredible stories. DBL Nation, you can pick up a copy of her book, In True Face, A Woman's Life in the CIA Unmasked, wherever books are sold. Thank you again, Jonna.
Congrats
We'll
on
be right
having
back.
the coolest life ever.
Yeah, great interview.
Thank you. You guys are fun. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Here's a question. Are you a planner? Nobody. Get this, if you do research when it comes to your medical bills, you could save some cash. Medical bill tiering is when you pay more for certain facilities, and it's on the rise. Experts say talking with your insurance company before a planned procedure is the best way to avoid paying extra.
Especially for if you are in Medicare. There are different tiers in Medicare. It's really important to talk before you go. For assisted living, do you need full-time help? Do you need little-time help? Do you need a person to come and travel through? Sometimes when you go, you get all these these charges and you don't know, it's best to call and find out what tier you're in so you can at least be expected to know what you're paying. That's important to do for Medicare patients, for real.
It's important. It seems like a hassle, but it really is important.
It'll get you
don't
settled.
Even know. Yeah,
absolutely.
No matter how much research you do ahead of time for your medical bills, Better Benefits can help. Many Americans already on Medicare may not have a plan with all the benefits accessible to them, so reach out to Medicare Advantage advisors today. The benefit review is free. Just call 800-293-9930. I just think about this like with birth, because when you give birth, they give you the options like, do you want your own room and all this? And like they really try to upsell you. I'm like, we'll just have it out back.
In the field.
In the field. There you go. All full circle. See you guys tomorrow.